Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode.
Hey y'all, we'll always come through for you.
Okay, it's great to see some familiar faces. So guys, last week, this has not blown up like it was supposed to, and we're very surprised. Well, maybe it's unsurprising.
Okay, but before you get into what we found out last week, okay? If you guys have not already done so, please like and subscribe. We'll only be dropping tea, and you might just want to tune in to what we gotta say, y'all.
Okay, what's the tea? Well, we'll tell you. So last week, an exhibition was opened in Russia for the first time ever, revealing old biblical icons, revealing back from the 14th century.
1400s.
Okay, and guess what they all had in common?
They was black.
Blackity black.
Blacker
black.
than you can imagine. Black, okay?
Black, guys.
They're black.
These biblical icons, and we're talking about people from the Bible that we grew up in storytelling time with. Moses. Daniel and the Lion's Den.
Yes, Queen of Sheba.
Black.
They were all black. And it's just interestingly enough, that those were hidden. Now, the video did mention how Russia was the one who was able to rediscover these old paintings that dated back from that time, right? Because obviously we can tell. We can just guess why they were covered up, right? Can you guess?
Right.
Like, you can probably guess what. And I'm glad, we are where we're at now. We're trying to do change and do better as far as ourselves and being together in unison. But black people were there doing their thing to the point where, because those images were up, they thought that they were deities, gods, they were in Europe.
Okay.
They were in, what are the other places of the world?
Okay, a lot of them dealing with Europe, but in Spain particularly, France.
Yes.
All that type of Eastern hemisphere. We were, like you said, deemed as gods, as deities, because of these, original paintings dating back from the 14th century. While the westernized world, aka America and all the other countries on this side,
changed the words, found in the Bibles per se, to try to describe a white man. They might have forgotten some words because they did describe Jesus as having hair. Let's be for real.
And copper skin, right?
Okay, copper skin. Where do you see a white Jesus at? So it's just interesting how they even painted those images. And because it's important to imprint those images of a white Jesus in your mind, because even when you pray, that's the image that pops up in your head.
Exactly.
And it's important, as far as the level of the depthness of deceit, as far as, who Jesus was and what type of people. Come on.
Yeah.
It's the setting for me. That was the first giveaway for me. They talking about Egypt. Egypt is in Africa.
Okay. When y'all ever seen white people for real?
Come on.
In Africa.
Egypt is in Africa, y'all. And I was always thinking, if I remember being young, and I'm like, okay.
Is this the same Africa that we know of?
Okay, this must be a different Africa. Before, anything to debunk, because we've already accepted and ingrained in our mind that Jesus is a white man, when in fact he was not.
And like you're saying, because it's we did have a church background, and I remember growing up in church, and then how the pastor was so, the Bible this, the Bible that, but it's how can you be so biblical and on the Bible, but still giving us the wrong, incorrect facts?
Yes, still skipping over certain information, as if it didn't matter. So then it trained us to kind of already filter the information we didn't want to hear or receive in the Bible, and just always take whatever information that resonated with what we know now, even though it was false, okay?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's important to know this, guys.
Yeah, because this was done intentionally. Like we mentioned, this was, 14th century, right? So right when, this was before Michelangelo and Leonardo was commissioned by the Pope at that time to then repaint these pictures.
Because they weren't comfortable with them being black. So they repainted all the images you see in the churches now, where you see your white Jesus and the white white angels.
These white angels.
It's all fake. That was purposely painted so that it could resonate with what the Pope wanted the people to believe. They couldn't accept that, Black people were viewed as deities, as gods, or as people who had, accomplished so much,
Right.
And it only makes sense now, why we're so oppressed now. Because we're always thinking like, dang, just for the color of our skin, like, it was more than that. It was who we were.
Yes.
It was more than just the color of our skin. It was what we did. Our accomplishments. We were a great people. So they needed to find a way to destroy us in a sense where like we, all have like low self-esteem now and they lowered our willpower.
Not remembering who we are.
Exactly. And it just keeps making me think about that meeting. I think you said something about the Vaticans who did this.
Yes.
That meeting where they, the United States had a meeting where they just wanted to find a way to destroy the Black people, and they attacked their spirit, their willpower, and their gods.
Exactly.
And it's just like before that, in Africa, wherever they went and got these people, they were a thriving people, and somehow they got into our heads and convinced us that our God was not it, and their fake white Jesus was the God we should be praying to. Well, no wonder why our answers aren't being answered, or prayers aren't being answered.
Right? Exactly. If
We're praying to the wrong God.
Right? Y'all, I know some of y'all can relate. You're out here thinking like, oh, why me, or this and that. God doesn't listen to me. And maybe to a lot of these atheists out there who are thinking, well, there is no God, or God doesn't listen. Why would God allow this and that to happen?
Then they succeeded in what they was trying to do, y'all. And that was really to destroy our willpower, to destroy that the things we wanted couldn't be achieved. And, the answers we had to our questions couldn't be answered. Like, that was part of their entire plan. And
because if we look back at the Bible, or Jesus in the Bible, right? And some of these verses, mind you, a lot of it was taken out by the Vatican in that meeting we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Some of these verses about
100 years later, mind you. So the fact that these images were dated back in 1400s, that's significant.
Yeah.
Because those changes to those images and the story we know today, those changes didn't happen until 100 years later.
Yep. That part. And it just shows you, because it's like, if we're looking at this God from the white perspective, right? And they're talking about this God, though this God is a God to be feared. This God is a jealous God. This God is this and that. Like, you're thinking like, God damn,
who is this God we're talking about? He doesn't sound like a God.
And why is he jealous? Why is he angry? Why is he all of these things? Why am I supposed to be afraid of him? Like,
that part, when we're supposed to be forming a loving relationship with God and feel safe and feel that security, yet we're walking on eggshells because we might piss him off. Like, something just is off about that, don't you think? I don't know, just saying.
Okay, so if you're out there and you're wanting to and you're curious about this, definitely dive in. The exhibit is, I'm sure, is still open in Russia. And I think now what's interesting about it is that if you Google it, now it's trying to look like it's being debunked
already.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a new discovery. And mind you, those people who are trying to debunk it didn't even travel to Russia themselves to go to that museum and see it for themselves. It's usually people who've never traveled any further than where they're at, who probably has been in the US or wherever they are their entire life, never even traveled, but have such a strong opinion to say about, what's out there.
That part.
Do your research.
Okay.
And if you're gonna do something as far as criticize the information, at least be able to say, yeah, I was there myself.
Okay.
And I saw that it was crap. I will take in on your opinion if you went, so I can be like, oh, okay.
You traveled to Russia out here in the snow and all.
But I doubt that you still feel like that once you actually go there, because they were the only ones who kept some of those older pieces.
Yes, after
Russia.
A lot of them were destroyed by the Soviet Union era and all of that time frame. So these were actually hidden and protected and was just recently revealed. So there it's the original artifact, the original painting, the original condition. It doesn't get much more realer than that.
Yeah, and if a lot of us had the feeling but they just didn't have the facts to back it up, well, now you got it, boo-boo.
Okay.
Now you got it, all right? Like, we were a great people. And that's the thing that a lot of them want us to forget about who we were, where we come from, you know, what we can accomplish. And yes, they have taken a lot of our willpowers to the point where we feel like we're at their mercy, okay? As far as being able to accomplish something, you might need their help. But think again, if you really just dive into yourself and see that you have the power to do the things that they feel they have the power to do, that's when you start really taking your power back, okay? And really start to question everything that's ingrained in your mind to see, like, where did they come from? Why is it like that? You know, like,
let's start
if
asking the hard
doesn't
questions.
feel right in our stomach, because oftentimes it's like it makes you feel uncomfortable, but this is what you've been learning for so long, for so many years. Why would you question it 30 years later?
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably when you should question it. Now that you have your cognizance, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have your mind together, and you've dabbled and dabbled in some different type of information, talk to different cultures. And that's the other thing too. Like, I don't like the isolation as far as like people who live in the US and in third world countries. The mindset that we have over those third world countries automatically sets us to like debunk what they say, or to think that we're more knowledgeable, to think that we know more than them, when that's not true.
Right.
A lot of the people who live in the US are, you know, following ideas and things that were planted, that were lies, that were meant to deceive us. And third world countries, you'll find that they have the authenticity of this information, of these stories. Their information may be just a tad bit more accurate than ours.
Okay, because like I said, all of this was done intentionally. When you take it back to the original Bible, how long or how oftentimes it's been revised and edited and taken things out, it's not something now where you could say, I trust the entity, the government, the Vaticans who did that, because now we can't trust you. And these are the questions we have to ask of why. Why did you take all of these things out? Why did you edit these or you know, these pictures to now depict white people when it wasn't done that way, you know? So,
and you know, and I'm tired of receiving the old answers that we used to just be content with. Start asking yourself why you're even wanting to be content with the information that they're pushing onto you. Now, I remember that was the first time I started doubting the Bible, was when I first learned that. Like, there were books taken out, there were things altered, and I thought, why?
Exactly.
Because I used to look at this book like holy, like, oh my goodness, it knows everything.
No one's supposed to touch it.
I need to follow it.
Yeah.
But then, no one's supposed to touch it, but it was touched and altered. Who did such a crime?
And who gave you that power to do that crime? And so, honestly, we urge you guys to go ahead and, you know, do your own research, you know, dive in and find the, you know, the unedited type of, you know, come back and find the books that were sticking out and go read them for yourself, because knowledge is power. What are they trying to, you know, hide from us? It can no longer be hidden. We are now more aware.
It's time for it to come out, boo-boo. Like, anything that was in the dark, you know, under the carpet, under the rug, it's time for it to come out, because we're getting smarter and we're starting to notice something's off. Like, what's all of this? Like,
okay, that part.
Like, something ain't right about this information. And if you feel that, know that that's your intuition, that's your spirit guide talking to you. And question, inquire.
That part. And even to those out there who are thinking, well, Jesus has no skin color. Why? Why would you?
Why do you think even that needed to be a thought?
No, exactly. Because I remember
because they knew at some point that the truth would start coming out. Like, oh no, he's actually black. Now it's about like, well, no one knows. No one really knows. No, we know. There's images. There's paintings.
Yeah, and
we know.
Okay, and I remember that was like kind of like the insert back in church. Like, oh well, and they're saying that, mind you, after centuries, right? And
painting and white Jesus.
Of white Jesus. They're like, Jesus has no skin color.
So really? Why do you make him
because
white?
It looks like he has skin color in all the paintings that we've seen around here.
I would have more respected it to say he has no skin color, but you painted somebody a God that's green or purple to show that there is no skin color that Jesus has. Okay, I see where you're going with this, because we don't know a human being who has purple or green skin.
Okay.
So that would help us conceptualize that. But no, you made him white.
And then want to throw that in the aftermath that, oh, he has no skin color. Well, no, that's cap.
That's cap.
That's cap.
Jesus was a real person and he was black.
Okay.
Okay. So saying that he has no skin color is also like manipulation. Because if he was a real being that lived on earth, how did he not have a skin color? Was he clear? You could see through him?
Okay. No, that part.
He was black. Okay. So I don't want to hear nothing else about none of that. Like, it's been proven. It's out. Sorry, y'all. Like,
okay.
The truth is out.
And it is out. And for a lot of you guys, this will be hard to hear, and maybe you may accept it or may not, but definitely do some internal research on your own and find out if this white Jesus really resonates with you, because you'll probably find out that it's not, and you need to go back to kind of like your roots of who you are and the God that you serve to make sure that you do have that connection, because a relationship with God, like we said, should be symbiotic. It should be mutually benefiting. You should feel at ease and comforted. You should
feel like he's listening to you, answers your prayers, and he's there with you.
Okay.
So if oftentimes you feel abandoned, left behind, and just
fearful,
that's because it's the wrong God, boo. Like, that guy was made up. Jesus was that white Jesus. We see with the hair long. He's made up.
That ain't your Jesus. that ain't our Jesus.
No. We don't know what deity they done created that looked like that, and we would bring to them for all these years. But it's just time to really start questioning these things, and yes, even questioning spirituality, because that is the essence of who we are. You know what I mean? Like, we glow from within, from our soul, our spirit. Like, you can't possibly just believe in the sources that other people are just putting out there that they haven't questioned themselves and are just like passing down as Bible. Because even the Bible is fake.
All right. So tell us what you think. You know what I mean? Is it something that's unexpected? Were you surprised by this? Were you, dubious like we were when they were talking about white Jesus? Like drop some tea in the comments, because we definitely would love to hear about it.
Absolutely. And make some mental notes, like bookmark this if you need to, so that you can go back to it later when you see some information that help you cross-reference. We'll also leave you a link to some of our sources as far as where we get the information, so that you can, study it yourself.
Yeah,
be the detective. Do what you gotta do. But it's out there. It's out there.
And as always, our job here is to, find information and, bring them back to you. So eventually you then can, reroute your journey back to your soul. Period.
All right. You heard it here, y'all.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
All right, bye.